y'all. Welcome to the Beyond the Script podcast. I'm your host, Kerri, and I'm joined again by my friend Nicole. Hey, Nicole.
Hi. Hi. Thanks for
And
having me, as always.
oh, always a joy to have you. I'm also joined by
Yes.
my little fluffers right now because she didn't want to be by herself. Um, but today, Postables, we are going to be talking about the first and second episode of the Signed, Sealed, Delivered series. Quick little side note here, because this is something that really threw me off when I went to try to find this on my TV. If you are using the Hallmark Plus app, the pilot movie shows up as a movie, and
Hmm.
then then it starts into the TV series
Yeah.
episodes. But if you are using Hallmark Plus channel through Amazon Prime,
Um,
then the pilot movie shows up as episode one. So it
yep.
can be a little confusing here.
Yes. If any of you Hallmarkies, Postables that have Hallmark Plus, there is a signed, sealed, delivered collection on Hallmark Plus, not through Amazon Prime, just through Hallmark Plus. And they have grouped all of them together in order, which is great.
That is awesome. I just remembered to set my timer here to try to keep myself on track because this is going to be a lot to talk about in 30 minutes. It might drag on a little bit longer, but I'm still going to
Yeah.
try to keep it to that.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about episodes one and two, as I said. So episode
Mhm.
one is titled Time to
To
Start
start
Living.
living. Yep.
So one word to describe this episode,
Mm.
I chose the word thrilling.
I think that's my same word. I think I'll use the same one. And suspenseful a little bit.
Yeah. Thrilling and suspenseful. I think those are two
Yeah.
very good words to describe this,
Hmm.
and an excellent episode to kick off this little
Yeah.
series.
Yes.
So the plot for this particular episode is when given a letter addressed simply to Grandma, Oliver, Shane, Rita, and Norman are sent on a journey to save a little boy's life. So yes,
Hmm.
definitely suspenseful.
Yes. And of course, Valerie Harper is in this episode. We'll talk about her. She plays the section leader, so to speak, Teresa Capodiamante, and Spencer Drever, who plays Owen slash Casey. And for all the Postables who were also Hardys out there, Spencer was in season 4, episode 1, I know, and I think a couple episodes after that. He played Cyrus Rivera, the young boy who was in Elizabeth's class who loved baseball and couldn't play because of his injured leg. So he's a great young actor.
He really is. So moving on to our favorite actor or actress
Hmm.
in this particular episode, mine is
Mm.
Oliver. I love his wit in this one.
Yeah.
Also I love the appearance you mentioned Valerie Harper as
Hmm.
the new supervisor, Teresa Capodiamante.
Yep.
And a lot of people, y'all know I'm a classics nerd. You can see this by looking
Hmm.
at my background here. Valerie Harper is best known as Rhoda, who got her start on the Mary Tyler Moore show and then ended up with her own
Yes.
as Rhoda.
Yep.
Uh, my favorite quote of hers from this episode is there are no small miracles, only big miracles.
Hmm.
They only seem small because we stand so far away from them.
Yep.
So who is your favorite
That's,
episode?
oh goodness. That's hard. And I'm not just saying this again because you said it, but I think I really did love Oliver in this episode. Like, he's great.
Oliver like just wins it in this episode. Like Yeah.
I did love all of the characters in this episode, as always, but I do think that I also love Norman in this episode. Like some of his comedic lines in this one were great.
Oh yeah.
And in the next one.
Yeah. Norman is my like overall series favorite,
Yeah.
but yeah. But I absolutely love him in this one.
Yeah.
So, what are some favorite scenes? And for time's sakes, we're gonna
Okay.
limit it to two favorite scenes apiece.
Okay.
Um,
Um, that's a tough. Um, okay, so my first one is I'm jumping like way into the episode, like probably in between the middle and the end, when Oliver gives his speech to Vivian, when
mm,
she's feeling down about, not going with her family. And I'll just read the brief, speech
sure.
from Oliver. He says, Mrs. Lassiter, I know how he feels. If I could get on a bicycle and ride to my grandmother tonight, I would, but I can't. You are a strong and brave woman who loves her family so much. She was willing to sacrifice the rest of her days with them in order to keep them safe. Maybe Casey didn't write that in so many words, but the words he did write of spoons and apple trees and peanut butter pancakes, those words might as well be a sonnet from Shakespeare, because
Mhm.
they say the very same things that you were known and loved and missed.
Yes.
And I think my other favorite scene, I gotta mention the comedic scene with
Hmm.
all of them in the car with Vivian trying to get to Casey.
Yeah.
And, Oliver and Norman is on the phone with his cousin, I think Wade is his name, the real estate tycoon. And at one point, Vivian's like, Are you really telling me you're from the post office? Oh, yes. We don't kid. We're not kidding.
Oh yeah, we're the real deal.
Real, the real deal. Yeah, that's what he said.
He's like, I was hoping that was a front. And he's like, oh no, we're the real deal.
No, deal. And then him dressing up as the road crew guy with the
Hmm.
traffic cones.
Yes. Love Norman in this one.
Yeah.
I think my favorites, you were mentioning Norman
Mm.
out there on the road with like all the traffic cones and stuff because he had put together his field kit because they're special agents now,
That's,
so like
oh,
he's
yeah, yeah.
smart. And I love when Shane's like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Oh, this is my field kit." And she said, "Yeah, because you never know when
And
Grandma might
when
go
grandma
rogue
might go
on you."
rogue on you.
He's like, "No,
No,
you don't."
you don't. I also loved when Rita is talking to Donna, like she runs into her,
Mhm.
and you know, she's, I guess, describing, the woman that they're looking for. And no, she's describing the one that took Shane's tablet, I think. And she's
Mhm.
like, she had gray hair, talked extraterrestrials, and she steals things. She reminds me of my mother.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. My other favorite scene, and this does come with a spoiler alert, but is
Yeah.
when Owen slash Casey is finally
Hmm.
safe, and Oliver says, "All's well that ends well, huh?" And Shane's like, "Oh no, no, no! Like you do not get to quote Shakespeare tonight. Shakespeare never had to thwart a drug cartel."
Drug cartel.
And
Yep.
Oliver comes back with, "Some are born great, some achieve greatness, some have greatness thrust upon."
Greatness starts to.
She's like, "You're impossible."
Yep.
So I love those,
Yeah.
all of those scenes. So things that just like didn't quite work, weren't right, whatever. There
Mm,
really wasn't anything in this
no.
episode that I noticed. But one thing that I found hilarious was how many different grandma names there were.
Oh, yes.
Like, those are creative.
Peaches? What?
Boba, Baba.
But, uh,
I have to give them props. Like this was nothing that did not work for me, but props to them for all the
Yeah.
creativity on the different names. And I would love to be
Yeah.
like for
Yeah.
me it was always just like Granny or Nana. Like there were
Yeah.
no unique. Now my mother, she was supposed to be Mama, but the kids couldn't pronounce it when they were really little, so it came out Wawa.
Yeah.
So she was
Oh.
instead of Mama.
Yeah.
But other
Yeah.
than that, like everybody's been pretty normal in our family.
hmm I can't think of anything either that was low, so to speak, of this episode, like a
Yeah,
plot hole or anything.
yeah. So what do you think were the themes or messages in this episode?
Um, well, protection because of Vivian and devotion, that kind of is a two in one, and standing up for what's right, I guess, would be another one because of, Donna.
Yeah, agreed. Um, just her putting her family first,
Yes.
I guess,
hmm
was another one.
hmm
I think that's one that you have to be careful because sometimes, yes, you do have to put other people first, and sometimes you have to
Yeah.
look out for yourself. So I feel like that one's kind of a
Yeah.
matter of discretion, I guess.
hmm
But I also feel like that something that stood out to me is that we shouldn't consider ourselves a burden.
Yeah.
And for me, like that's relevant to me because I've always like struggled with self-confidence and like I've never been someone that assumed that I was wanted somewhere or by
hmm
other people because I've always been the outcast. So like I still to this day I don't assume I'm wanted somewhere. Um but I think this episode it was really important to recognize that there's always somebody that cares. You know, you're always important to somebody. So I thought that
Yeah.
was really really sweet. So how do you think these things are relevant today?
I mean, what you said, there are a lot of people that struggle with self-worth, and I think that people should know that, like you said, there is always someone that cares. There's always someone that cares.
Yeah, always someone to care, always someone to stick up for you. I know
Yeah.
my friend in Los Angeles, my mom always said she never saw anyone fight for me the way that he
Yeah.
does.
In reference to doing what is right, there's a lot going on these days in
Mhm.
the world, and I always go back to this quote. Now, it's from a different show, another favorite show of ours, One Calls the Heart, but bad things happen if good people do nothing.
Yes. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
that kind of goes along with this episode, even though it's a different show.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
So what is your overall rating of this episode?
Oh goodness. Um, this was a great episode. I can't remember what I rated it on my review,
Mhm.
but it's not like my absolute favorite in the canon, you know,
Mhm.
with the movies and the TV series episodes, but it is a good one. I think I would probably give it 4 out of 5. What about
Awesome.
you?
I would give it a 5 stars simply because I feel like it hits the ground running. Like it's a very
Yeah.
powerful beginning.
hmm
The pilot is good, but then this
Yes.
episode just like hits the ground running. I love how much of a detective feel that it has because
Yeah.
we all know us white girls that we
Mhm.
love our true crime dramas and
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, we love the Hallmark movies and mystery.
hmm
Um,
hmm
but I love how much of a detective feel this has. I
hmm
love the wit that
Yes.
Oliver shows in this one. So, are there any quick final thoughts on this episode before we move on to episode 2?
Can't think of anything. It was a great episode, great dynamics with the cast as always.
Oh, agreed.
And I really did love Vivian in this episode too, the grandmother.
Yes, she was awesome.
Yeah.
She was very, very awesome. And I loved Arlene. I loved seeing
Yes, Arlene was cute too.
Norman with Arlene.
Oh, yes. Okay, I just remembered.
Mhm.
The scene, I think it was after Norman said bye to Arlene the second time. And he's walking down the hall. He runs into Rita because, they have to go. And, you know, he's walking down the hall and he says something along the lines of Arlene says Donna is really rude and she was right after Labor Day.
Yes. I loved that. I loved that. Oh
And the
my,
stamp book, of course, that Norman was given was
yes.
really sweet.
Yes. It was really, really sweet.
And that moment with them when she gives him the stamp book or is trying to give him the stamp book, like she's showing her the stamps.
Yeah.
And those are my final thoughts.
Yes. Was it this episode or the second episode that he mentions that I think it was this first episode that he mentions that he is Norman Dorman Jr.
I think maybe
So I
might
found
have
that
been.
interesting because, I
Yeah,
don't really get into the why of that until, later episodes, but I
yeah,
just found that interesting because that's not
yeah.
ever something that we hear mentioned again. So
Mm-mm. No,
that one kind of goes into the black hole
yeah,
a little bit.
yeah.
Moving on to episode 2, which the title of it is To Whom It May
Okay.
Concern. So, one word to describe this
Oh
episode,
gosh.
I chose heartstrings because this episode pulls on every single heartstring.
Hmm. Emotional.
Yes.
This one makes me sob every single time. There's two scenes that stand out that make me sob every single time.
Hmm. Yep. So the quick plot line of this episode is that a lost letter sends Oliver, Shane, Rita, and Norman, since they are not yet known as the Postables.
Postables.
They're not yet known as that, so I can't call them that yet.
Yet.
But it sends them on a journey to find a lost soldier and bring him back in time for an important event. So, who is your favorite actor or actress in this episode?
Oh my gosh. Can I mention two? Is that okay? I'm going to have to say Oliver again, specifically because of his speech to Buzz, which I will mention in a few minutes when we get to favorite scenes. And Samilla, her and Buzz too, actually, the three, because of their bravery.
Yeah.
Samilla, going back for her sock, that took some bravery. And
Mhm.
then Buzz for rescuing her and just, being in the military, serving his country.
Yes, agreed. I would have to say that like, if I just had to choose one,
Hmm.
which is really hard in this episode, but if
Yeah.
I just had to choose one, it would be Teresa
Yeah. Teresa's great
because
too.
I love her in this episode.
Hmm.
She's so fun in
Yeah.
this episode. Um, like when we see when the crew comes walking in and she's in there dancing around by herself and Norman's like, "I told you we should have gone to lunch," like
Lunch. And
so.
they're all like,
So I love her in this episode. She is so so fun. Um,
yeah.
but honestly, like I also have to say that I love Buzz and Sammy, and I know some people call me creepy, but like I cannot be the only one that wish they were a couple. Because when you really look at it, like she had to have been like 16 at least, 15, 16, I would say when he was
Yeah.
dating her. And then like she's graduate, he's like early 20s
Hmm.
at that point. So honestly, they're probably only around 6 to 8 years apart in age.
Yeah. I mean, that's not too,
It's not too, I mean, my husband and I are 11 years apart in age. So obviously I'm not going to think anything about 6 to 8 years,
yeah.
you know. But I get why people freak out when she's younger, but like, she's
Yeah.
at college now and all that. She's older. But I know I cannot be the only one that like thinks they would make the most adorable couple ever. But that's also the hopeless romantic of me. So
Yeah. I can kind of see it both ways. Like I could see them as a couple, but then also just as a brother sister type of
yeah.
relationship. And I'm not saying this in any kind of creepy way,
Yeah, no,
but
no. Yeah, no.
I mean it could go both ways with the two of them.
Yeah. Um my favorite scenes in this one, again, trying to keep it to two to,
Hmm.
save time. But obviously when Buzz and Sammy are united, but I also love I mentioned a minute ago that I love watching Teresa and all this with all of
Hmm.
theatrical stuff,
Yeah.
especially at the end, when she kisses Oliver on the cheek and says, "I think I'll miss you most of all." So, like, of course I'm a Wizard of Oz fan, so
Yeah.
uh the whole Wizard of Oz theme for her throughout this I love. But
Hmm.
those would like if I had to narrow it down, there are so many good scenes in this one, but if I had to
Yeah.
narrow it down, those would be two of my favorites. So what
Yes.
are a couple of your favorites?
Okay, so I won't mention the reunion since you just mentioned that one, and that's a given.
Yeah.
But number one, Oliver's speech to Buzz in the church when he's there with him and Shane. And I just got to read the speech because this is one of my favorite Oliver speeches in the canon.
Hmm.
And this is one of the scenes that just makes me sob every single time.
Hmm.
Buzz, there's no easy answer to what happened that day. You tried to be a peacemaker, and the awful insanity of war did everything to stop you. Because of that, you think you don't deserve Sammy's gratitude, or a Purple Heart, or a good night's sleep in your own bed. Any man who puts his life on the line to stand between what is right and what is wrong deserves thanks from the ones he defends. Until you reached out and gave a little girl a pair of socks and a book on a pillowcase. Sammy woke up every morning, nothing to look forward to, but more poverty, more violence. You gave her something to dream about. You sacrificed yourself to give her a future and a hope. That is nothing to be ashamed of, something to celebrate. I'm almost crying just thinking about it.
Oh yeah. That one is that yeah, I almost typed up that speech when I was going through and like writing down some quotes and stuff that were some of my favorites, but
Yeah,
one is really, really moving.
yes. Another favorite is when they're meeting Samilla the first time and she's asking, why are you doing this? Why are you helping try to, get this letter back to Buzz? And Oliver says, in this age of tweets and text and abbreviated thought, I think people take for granted the gift of learning how to read and write,
Yes.
which is very true.
Very, very true. I didn't have any major problems with this
Mm-mm.
episode. The one thing, and this is just the behind the scenes script supervising,
Yeah.
I've pretty much pitched in all over the place
Hmm.
on set. But I did notice when they were in the mailbox grill and Shane's like putting
Hmm.
everything on her
On
salad
the salad.
that she asks for Tabasco and Rita brings her the chipula or chalupa.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't remember how it's pronounced, but something along those lines.
I
So
know
that
what you're talking.
that was just one of those little moments, that like they didn't bring what she asked for. Again, that's just the behind the scenes
Yeah,
part of me that
yeah.
noticed that. But that does bring up one of my favorite moments when Oliver tells Shane that that is not a salad, that is a science experiment.
Six p.m.
can't remember what exactly it is that Oliver says to her in the scene there when they're talking about the salad, and he says something about her tintype.
Not
And
on your tintype, Miss McInerney, and please step away from the salad.
yes, but then Norman looks at Rita and he's like, "What's a tintype?"
The
She's like,
tintype.
"I'll tell you later."
And not scene wise, but I love how we also have some hearty when calls the heart connections in here in this episode. So Captain Hopper, played by Michael Hogan. Michael Hogan was Archie Grant, so Nathan's father, in was it season 7 that he came in? Was that? Yeah, I believe so. And then Anne Marie Deloise, who is the wife of Peter Deloise, and Peter is a director on When Calls the Heart, and Anne Marie played Cody and Becky's aunt in season 3.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, like the themes and messages in this episode, one big one is PTSD, obviously,
Hmm.
because I think there
Yeah.
are so many soldiers that come back feeling the way that Buzz did,
Yeah.
of not feeling worthy of
Yeah.
the honor that they're being given. But I
Hmm.
feel like this episode, like the themes and messages of this episode, gets well summed up by Teresa herself in this episode.
Hmm.
Risk it all in order to find it for yourself. Get
Yeah.
your head out of the computer and dance a little.
Well,
Step out and have the courage to embrace your technicolor future. Be bold, darling, and follow your dream, whatever,
yes,
whoever it is.
yes.
And
As she
Norman too.
taps, as she taps Norman
Yeah.
on the head, and Norman too.
Yeah.
I think some themes for me or lessons. So always take time to thank men and women in the military. Always be grateful for their service, which I always am. Um, I think this was in Samila's speech, imagining what you can become instead of fear of what might happen. Wherever we go, it will be because of the sacrifice and gift of others. And I think you just said it. Don't waste a moment. Enjoy the life you've been given.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. So why do you think these are relative today? Because
Hmm.
mine can be summed up, my answer to that question can be summed up with two quotes. One from Norman when he says, I guess it's never too late to pursue your dreams.
Yes, that's relevant today. Yep.
And then one from Teresa when she said, there are no problems, darling, only opportunities in
And
disguise.
skies. Yeah, I wrote that one down too.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you think these things are applicable to us today?
Hmm. Well, for me, I guess I would say, like, I guess for some people, they do struggle with, fear of maybe getting outside of your comfort zone, so to speak. But if you don't try, you'll never know what might happen. And the message in this one kind of goes along with what is said in my review of the Wind Calls the Heart pilot movie. So it's regarding following your dreams. In life, sometimes it can be so easy to just take the easy way out, quit. No matter what challenges you face, you should never give up because following your dreams can be worth it in the end.
Agreed. You mentioning the When Calls the Heart thing. I actually have right here a craft that I did when I went up
Oh,
to Napanee, Indiana for the When Calls the Heart musical.
oh,
And it says, there's
love
a dream
that.
in my heart, and so here I go. And it's a line from one of the songs
Yeah,
in
I
that
love that.
in that.
I love
So
that.
if y'all have Spotify, definitely look up the soundtrack to the When Calls the Heart musical.
Yeah,
Amazing. But
yes.
But yeah, when you said that, that's what came to my mind. So, what is your rating of episode two?
5 out of 5. 10 out of 10.
Yes, 100%. This episode, honestly, Like, I know you said it's one of your top favorite of the TV series. This is one of my, because Signed, Sealed, Delivered, for anybody that doesn't know, it starts off with the pilot movie and then it has some episodes, like TV episodes, and then it
Hmm.
goes into more movies. So right now we're discussing the TV series. But honestly, like, this episode for me is one of, not necessarily my top, but one of my top favorite in the entire Signed, Sealed, Delivered canon. Like, this is
Yeah,
such a good story.
yeah. Yes, it really is.
And that brings us to our final thoughts on
Hmm.
this episode. And like I said, this one for me is just like one of
Hmm.
my absolute top favorites.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Um,
For all the reasons we
uh,
mentioned.
oh yeah, absolutely. Um, I will wrap this up with
Yeah.
a quote from Teresa. And she says, and promise me, each of you, this work you're doing, it's important, but it won't always be easy. So
Hmm.
please take care of your hearts, because from them flow the well springs of life. And life is so beautiful. Don't waste a moment of it. There's so many good inspirational quotes from this series. Like, just, it's so good. Martha Williamson is a genius. Like, just absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
Well, thank you, Nicole, for coming
Of
on,
course.
talking
Yes.
about
Thank
these.
you for having me.
I know you have been on the podcast before. I will
Yes.
again link your podcast, which is the Swing Mom
Yes.
podcast. I will link your Instagram in the description of the video,
Yeah.
because all of your links and all of your info,
Yes.
your link tree
Yeah.
in Instagram bio. But
Yeah.
thank you guys for listening,
Thank you.
for joining us as we do this rewatch of the Science Delivered series. I'm loving it. And
Yep.
let us know what your thoughts are below. Let us know, what your favorite episodes of
Mhm.
this series are. And, we'd love to hear from you. But we will be back again soon. So stay
Yes.
tuned.
Yes. Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys. Bye, Postables.
Bye.